fighting can be taboo and looked at. It's a negative thing. Angry people do it. Man, a lot of my students are a lot less angrier after. And there was one time he was fighting for a belt and he got knocked out, and that was so hard for me. That's where Matt Hughes, who was a UFC champion, Chase Beatty, who was a WEC champion, Clayton French, who was a King of the Cage champ, all trained at Eastern in a small little right now, like owning an MMA gym. That's not really normal, teaching people how to fight. That risk, he has a tolerance I said about earlier. I was just okay with, hey, I'm interested in this, I'm going to do this, and you can't tell me different.
Hello and welcome to the Evolving Potential Podcast. This is Todd Smith and we're at episode number 33. Today I'm here with Jared Gahm. Jared is a former professional fighter in MMA, while also competing in boxing, jiu-jitsu, bodybuilding, CrossFit, and strongman. His teammates have been UFC, Bellator, and Strikeforce fighters. Jared has a master's degree in exercise science and has been a personal trainer for 23 years. He's considered one of the top trainers in Chicago. Now, Jared is the owner of PSF Bloomington. He's wearing the shirt there. You can see a 9,000 square foot gym that he built during COVID, and he's been able to maintain with zero debt after needing to borrow mats to open it originally. His passion was always in coaching, and now he spends all his time building fighters, teams, tournaments, and his gym. So thank you for being here, Jared.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited about this.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, first and foremost, with all your experience, what do you feel like separates a good fighter from a great fighter?
Well, a lot of that, and this comes from, I'm going to be the first to say I was never a great fighter. I was above average, and that's about where I put my skill level. But the fighters who truly are great, the world champions, the elite of the elite, there's a lot of genetics, and this is the exercise science. Some people just, have that lucky skill set for athleticism. But on top of that, it's also the grind. How much are you, doing the extra work? How much extra practices are you staying after? Are you studying? So it is a skill set that you have of genetics. And then after that, it's what do you do with it? So you can be talented, but if you don't put in that extra work, it doesn't go anywhere but on the couch.
Yeah, understood. And so if you see a fighter with, if you saw a fighter with like really high potential come in, what would be some of the signs that you'd be looking for of worry? Like what would you be telling them to avoid so they really can maintain and get to that highest point of potential?
So this is going to sound cheap and corny, and it's going to be something that I know people's parents and grandparents and coaches said. It's all about the people you hang out with. Because I've seen some amazing, and I'll be the first to admit too, I definitely have hang out with the wrong group of people at points in my life, and nothing good got accomplished. So I've seen athletes come in, and I'm going to give a perfect example is a student that just got third at PANS last year. His nickname's Gremlin because he's about 5'1", and he's a ball of energy. But I'll be the first one to tell you that, and he will too, that when we first met, he has all the potential in the world. He is such an amazing grappler. I can show him something one time, and then that night he's using it and submitting guys. He's very skilled. But and I tell him, I was like, stop hanging out with your hood rats. Stop hanging out with your old hood rat friends. Once he moved to Bloomington, and I literally think 3 weeks after meeting him, I had him moved into one of my friends' homes and got him a job literally right next door to the gym doing heating and AC. After he got away from all the BS and the people he used to be with, he got really focused with the gym. And PANS is, my opinion, top 5, top 3 hardest tournaments in the world. Mm-hmm. He went there this year and he got 3rd place. Wow. And so that's one of those, it's the environment that you're in. If you're in a good environment, you can accomplish great things. And even my coach, Tommy and Heath Pedigo, they will be the first to tell you that too, that they have guys come into their gyms. Once they cut out all the BS and all their, hoodlum, hood rat shit and focus on the gym, focus on good people, you see the evolution. And that isn't just the gym. That's also too, their personal life gets better. Their relationship with their family and significant others, all that gets better when you're hanging around the right folks that have the same core values. Now, you talk to Michael Jordan, he only hung out with a couple select people, so it's the same concept just in you. And then the rest kind of just works itself out. I definitely knew about that when I was at a younger age, because I'd say high school and college, I was always focused into like the meathead weightlifting. Like I always was in the gym, and that's when I was around good people. Now, did I have spouts where I spent too much time at the bars? I was hanging out with the cool people? Absolutely. That didn't get me anywhere. And there also was a time in my life when I was about 23 that breakfast was a cup of coffee and 2 ciggies. And and like I said, me going through that year of hanging out with wrong people, drinking a case of beer 4 nights a week, I got a DUI, and nobody's fault but my own. Like I definitely messed up. But then what I did is I completely changed, and I moved to Champaign, started working at Gold's Gym for Dan, and got into fighting. And I changed my environment, changed the people I was with. I was like, I'm not going to bars. I'm not going out with certain people. You know what they are? Really just went to a different town, just started over. And it was scary, but that was the best thing for me, was me screwing up, getting a DUI, and then moving and restarting over. And it started with a healthy gym environment. I found a healthy grappling and MMA gym, started there. And then after that, that snowballed to going to Eastern and getting, finishing up my education, meeting Tommy, which kind of eventually led me to PSF, about 15 years later. So I just always say, Tommy Butler, who from Mattoon, he's the one person in my life that definitely met him when I was in my mid-20s. He took me in, taught me fighting, cornered me, became good friends still this day. And if it wasn't for having Tommy's one of those people I needed in my life, I never realized it and how much he's helped me and the success I've gotten, all from a good coach that believed in me. He didn't owe me shit.
Wow. So this is a guy that you met after
long
you moved?
answer, but
no, it's perfect. That's perfect. This is a guy that you met after you moved?
Yeah. It was my first move out of, town to kind of reset was in Champaign, Illinois, where University of Illinois is. And then from there, I went to Eastern Illinois. It's about 45 minutes south, and they had a very good kinesiology program. Chase Beatty, who was a WEC champion, Clayton French, who was a King of the Cage champ, all trained at Eastern in a small little wrestling room, and got to train with them. It was really cool to see the elite of the elite in a small town while finishing up your education. You got to be exposed to that, because back in the day, it was hard to find it, and just found a small hick town with a bunch of tough hillbillies from Illinois. And it's like, all right, I fit right in with you boys.
Wow. What was the process like for you to move, to get through that move, and to be okay with the fear that you were dealing with, I guess? Because a lot of people that get stuck in some sort of rut, like they get a DUI, they're not just going to go and move cities. Like, what did you deal with that? Was it an easy move for you, or is that just like a holy shit, I can't believe I'm doing this? And what got you through that?
So this is what I did, because I'm one of those people, and like I said, I was 23, but I definitely am a type of person that if I know something's bad, or if I don't like you, I just cut you off. That's it. Yep. So I knew I needed to reset. So when I moved, the next week I changed my phone number, and I only told a few people. At that time, I didn't have any social media, so you couldn't find me. And I just didn't tell people. I just said, hey, I knew I was doing stuff, and I just kind of stopped going out and just moved. So nobody really knew. And then I came back in town, every once in a while, and I'd see people, and they'd be like, hey, where are you at? I was like, oh, I'm in Champaign now. I'm doing this. They're like, when'd you do that? I was like, after my DUI. And it was probably 3/4 of the people were good for you. You did the right thing. And then the couple of people are like, man, why'd you leave us? Did you forget where you came from? They're all either got another DUI or in jail. So that's the evolution of, I knew I needed to change. And the people that stayed doing the same shit, their evolution was different than mine. So people do know right from wrong. I don't give me any of that BS. You know right from wrong.
Yep.
It's, are you okay with the right or wrong? Are you okay with standing up to the norm? An MMA gym, that's not really normal. Teaching people how to fight, She has a photography studio within the gym, which I've never seen that at all, but it's a really cool feature for us. You know, our life isn't normal, but we love it. We have students there at this point.
Jeez.
So it's one of those things where everybody's normal, doesn't make you happy, then do what makes you happy. And what I'm doing, I can't see myself ever doing anything different. I love coaching. I love being in the gym. I love just being around the gym environment. I'm happy. I'm centered. So that's one of those things of, I know this makes me happy. It's not what everybody else does, but hey, that's cool. I'm doing what's best for me, and nobody's got to change my mind at this point in my life.
Yeah. So other than being around just good general people, when you did that move, what were some of the things you felt like you learned that started to really change maybe the coaching that you now do?
Yeah, I will say the biggest change, because it is scary moving and starting over. I've done it probably 6 or 7 times, but I'm gonna say this is doing that, putting yourself in that scenario, scary. But how much you grow of, okay, I don't have anybody here. I don't got friends, family. I'm starting over. Where do I go for groceries? That's like, where do I make friends? What do I do for entertainment? Who are the people I should be hanging out with? You got about 6 months of figuring that stuff out. But then you're like, okay, I don't need the comfort of what I'm used to. I can do this. And then you do it a second time. It's still scary, but it's familiar. So I do think if you're okay with putting yourself out there, move to a different town, see what it's like. Like, that's one of the beauties of this world is it's okay to move. I don't have any interest in moving to another country, but I'd love to go travel and visit other countries. But the moving to another country, that's a whole nother animal that I'm not going to touch. But moving to a different city within your country, within the United States, easy to do, but it's scary. And it's just, are you okay with putting yourself in that scenario? And my risk tolerance, I've learned, is exceptionally higher than the average, but that's just what makes me me.
Yeah. So if you had a student who potentially could not leave their environment, like lives at home, maybe there's a tough situation going on at home, do you have any sort of mental reset that would not include that changing environment? Would it maybe include changing that internal environment?
So yes and no. And that's a kind of a case-by-case scenario, because that's, what's the support at home? Does he have a supportive family? Does he have a supportive significant other? Or are they very unsupportive? So that's where if they're at home, you know, and I'm gonna use my fiance Sabina as a perfect example. Like, I definitely would not be here or have what I have if it wasn't for her. But also too, she has let me know, hey, I need this out of you. And I've said to her, honey, this is what I need out of you. And it's a give and take of that support of, honey, are you willing to support me with this? Yes. I'm willing to support her, but she needs to tell me what I need. Now, I know people that they don't have supportive spouses. They don't have supportive significant others, kids, parents, you know, whatever. Well, then are you okay with living with that negative beatdown, or is it better for you to separate them? And I know that's hard. Some people can't separate family. Some people don't want to break up their significant other. Okay, then are you okay with living without support? I'm kind of one of those of, hey, if you're not going to support me, okay, then I don't need to be around you. I don't need to hear your BS if it's just going to be negative about what I'm trying to do. Yep. So that's, and I'll say this, like, I've totally just left, and I've lived in a gym before. I've totally just, hey, I'm out of here. I'm cool sleeping on the floor for a while. I've had lots of friends. They've lived in gyms for a year. They didn't have an apartment. They've lived in cars in the parking lot of gyms. Just need to get out of their environment. And, you know, that's one of the things of, what's your risk tolerance? What do you want to do? If you're okay with living in a gym, living on a couch, you can do it. It's just, you know, not many people are willing to do that nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you, or maybe even a fighter that you are coaching, has a big fight coming up, you know, again, people being very different, I totally understand that. Everyone's motivation style is a little bit different. But what are some of the common things that you see coming up that you have to help fighters get through when they have a fight coming up and it's high pressure?
Yeah. I'm going to give you two examples. I'm going to give you grappling from PANS this past year. And I'm going to use my student Eli, who I'm very close with. With him, it was, he needs the, hey, are you okay? How's your weight? You know, giving him the hand on the shoulder, giving him the hugs and telling him that I love him. That's what Eli needs. And he got second at PANS. It was incredible to see that. And it was, okay, you're doing this. He does very well when I give him the verbal confirmation. Gremlin's like that too. And then I got Matt, who also went there. I just need to make Matt laugh. If I can make Matt laugh, then he's good to go. I was like, okay, he's got that weird little giggle. All right, Matt's ready to compete. He's relaxed. Eli Gremlin, you know, I give them the positive, hey, I got your back. This is going to be fun. Just go out, do what you do, baby, and I got you. And then me, I'm part psychopath when I compete, and I don't want anybody to talk to me or touch me. It's just, hey, just give me a fist bump and get out of my way. Afterwards, I'll talk your ear out, but before, don't talk to me. So is finding what the people need. And then just recently, Gage, he was a college wrestler. He just won a kickboxing title. With Gage, it was just talking to him, working him through the game plan, and then just giving him that support. So leave him the hell alone. A couple guys, you just need to make them laugh to calm. But also, too, with the coaching, it's how well do you know your competitors? How well do you know your guys? Because everybody's different. And also, too, if they win, it's easy. But what do you do for your guys when they lose? And that's a whole nother animal of what they need afterwards, too. Because if you're in this game long enough, you're going to win some, lose some. That's just how it is. Just let them know, like, hey, man, you played the game and you did something that nobody else is willing to do. Like, that's awesome. So those are kind of my case scenarios of giving the support for fighters, grappling, stand-up. And also, too, just the kind of different case of what you need to do. So it's the coaching, you kind of need to be a chameleon. You need to know, like, what guys need.
Did you feel like you had any losses that were, like, so bad that kind of shook you to the core?
Jiu-jitsu, no. Because jiu-jitsu, it's win some, lose some. My buddy Scott, and I call him Sprinkles, and yes, I did that on purpose. I don't care. And again, him and I are like good friends. This last gym and the one before that, he's the guy who donated the cage to the gym. He was in there welding it with me. We had some long days with not a lot of sleep and caffeine and, you know, some sugar just to get fuel. And, you know, I've cornered him through wins. And there was one time, because not only was my friend injured, you know, I knew that Matt Hughes was right next to me cornering. And we both looked at like, oh, shit, our friend's hurt. If somebody gets knocked out and you're cornering because you can't do anything. If they get submitted, they lose on points. You know, it's you encourage that. The knock, somebody's knocked out unconscious. That one does get you. So Sprinkles, his loss was probably the worst one recently, but then he did come back and he got a really good win. So he came back after it. That's awesome.
Yeah. And what do you think have been a lot of the things that have developed your coaching style? So obviously, you know, some of the coaches you've experienced, some of the life lessons, but do you think there's been anything else you would credit your coaching style to?
100%. I'm going to give you the 3 people that helped with that. The first one, I'm going to give it to Mike Trotter, PT boss. And so when I found out you could be a personal trainer when you were 14 years old, you couldn't tell me anything different that's what I was going to do the rest of my life. So any of the teacher, guidance counselor told me it was a bad move, screw you guys. I'm still doing it. And when you go through personal training, they also teach you how to be a trainer. So I'd been personal trained for a while, and Mike Trotter definitely taught me a different way of personal training. It was how to open questions when you started to find out what they need as a trainer. And then I transferred that really over to my coaching with the boxing and the kickboxing and whatnot. And then after that, I've realized there's two type of coaches that I really work with. So there's the emotional coaches right here. I am the coach that practice. I am up in the air. I'm screaming, but it's like positive. I'm giving guys hugs. I'm giving them fist bumps. I'm getting people riled up because that's just who I am. I am just the loud, outgoing coach, but it comes from a good place. And if I could say the emotional coaches that I would compare that people know, I would say Mike Variable and Dan Campbell from the NFL. Those guys were what I call players coaches. And that's exactly what it is. You played the same game that these guys did. And I tell you guys, like, listen, I've done boxing, kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu. Like, I've done any of these combat sports and one lost, but I've been there, done that. So I know what you guys are going through. So that's where I'm at as far as like being the emotional coach and the players coach. And then the other type of coaching, there is that stoic coach, which I'm definitely not. But with the stoic coaches, those are the coaches that can grab a guy, put his hand, like, hey, come over here and talk to me. I do have that in me because I do like the one-on-ones with my guys. I like them knowing, about me, about, my fiance, Sabina. I like them knowing, like, hey, I'm a person too. I've gone through this. So the coaching of being, from Mike helped me first with, like, how do I talk to people? How is it that I figure out their purpose for here and how do I help them effectively? And then as far as my style of coaching, it's definitely more of the players coach, the emotional outgoing. But then I also do have, because I also do have a minor in sports psychology. So with that is talking to them and finding out what we're looking for. That's the behind the scenes that, I'm not going to share those conversations, that I have with people through text or anything, but there is that. And you just got to be around the gym long enough to know me that when that stuff happens, it's around. You guys just don't really see it because that's not the kind of stuff I show out for social media to see.
Yeah, makes sense. And so other than just fighting, I know that martial arts in general have a character building traits to them. And so do you feel like that's something that your gym has this culture of really like, embodying a certain type of being as a fighter? What does it mean to be a fighter and the discipline it requires? And how do you keep them from not fighting on the streets?
Well, a couple things. and that's a very, very good question, Todd. I really do like that. So the character building, it actually starts probably the first day that they get there. And I've been on other teams and other affiliates, and I've also talked to other guys who wrestled high school and college. I know my other teams I've been on, I had maybe like 3 or 4 guys I trained with, that's it, that were like around my weight and belt level. You didn't really go outside that. And then once I joined PSF, my first practice, I think, was I went with every single person in the damn room. It didn't matter age, height, weight. And I was like, okay, this is different. And now looking back, I was like, I really didn't know many of those other teammates because I didn't really get that, time to go with them unless I made sure I did. So at this gym, I don't care. Every single person you go with at practices, and we have over 120 students. So at some point, you've traded sweat with every single one. And I think that just gains with the confidence. Because kind of like we said, earlier, when you can go to another town and start over, starting at a whole nother gym, that's a whole nother animal. Because if you've never done this, you're going to a room that you're not in shape and you're probably going to get beat up. Yeah. Welcome to MMA. It's just, are you okay with these guys that are doing it? So the one thing with is when you come in, are you okay with getting beat up because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to fight? And then are you okay with meeting a whole bunch of new peoples and strangers? And the one thing I do too is I make sure is, you got your leaders. So it's, hey, go with him. It's his first day. Go with him. It's first day. So they get that introduction. And then they learn different people from different environments because we got the college kids, we got the adults, we have kids wrestling, we have guys who just do stand-up. So there's a lot going on at the gym, just like learning at a job, moving to a new town, learning how to make new friends. The gym has all the characters that you would at any other job. You know, you got the jokers, you got the serious people, you got the people that just kind of do their thing and leave. Yeah. So that the first character of the gym is just learning how to be a part of a team, being a teammate. Because if you join the gym and you're like, hey, I want to fight professionally. Okay, cool. Let's see you survive a practice. But if people come in and they go, yeah, I just want to learn this. I want to make some friends. I want to get in shape. Cool. Awesome. I don't give a shit if you never compete. If you are a good person and a good teammate every day you walk in the door, perfect. I want you here the rest of my life.
Yep.
That comes first. And that's something that's hammered into the people. Like, hey, if you guys want to fight, awesome. We'll get you there. It's going to be tough, but oh yeah, we'll get you there. But if you never want to fight and you just want to be just the best teammate, even better. Competing's cool, but that's not what makes it. Yeah, and I tell people, I'm like, hey, fighting's cool, competing's cool, but nobody's joining because of those accolades. They join because of the environment. So our environment, it's tough. It's very competitive, but also too, with that whole, you come in the very first day and you don't know how to fight. Yeah, you're gonna get tossed around. You're gonna get submitted, and then they realize, oh, I didn't know shit. Once you learn that skill set, and then you go against somebody their very first day, you're like, oh, this is like holding down my little 7-year-old nephew that doesn't know what he's doing. Like when you get to a point, it's like that.
Yeah.
Some drunk asshole at a bar, it's like, you don't want this. And it's not going to be any type of a challenge. So I truly do believe that, and every single practice, you're going to get some kind of a live round for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Essentially, that's a fight. So if you're doing that day in, day out with guys that know what they're doing and they see that challenge, some guy who's had, too many pitchers of beer and isn't even half-ass coordinated, it's like, dude, you're good. Just have another pitcher. I'm going to go over here. So I really think the hard environment that we have, these guys, because I've heard it, like, and I tell the guys, like, guys, I worked at bars for 10 years. If you think I haven't been in my shit, I have. And a lot of it was just they didn't know what they were doing. So it was a quick problem that got taken care of. So I tell them that. I don't try to act like I'm better than nothing. But I said a lot of those times it was something quick and simple because they didn't know what they were doing. And they've seen that now because I've heard of them going to frat parties or going out to bars and somebody tried to get lippy. And I go, well, what'd you do? And they just said, like, he talked shit, but I looked up and down. It was like, dude, it ain't even worth it because I got practice in 3 days. And it's going to be harder. Yeah. So that's really, I gave them a tough enough room that when they see somebody doing that, they're just like, this isn't even going to be worth it. So
that's good.
That's kind of my answer to that is I haven't had too many scenarios with these guys because practice is hard enough for them. They realize the average joker just ain't worth it.
That's cool. Yeah, there is no challenge in that. There's no point to it, really. There's no benefit.
No, and a couple of these guys have said this, which I'm totally okay with. If they had some like other frat boy or some college guy talking shit, I said, well, you tell them to come to the gym and sign a waiver, and we'll go in the back room where there's no windows, and you guys just have it out there. Yeah. And I've had a few guys that they've said that to people. I was like, they gonna come by and sign the waiver? Like, no, they didn't want to. I was like, all right, then you solved the problem.
Yep. Direct confrontation.
And I'd be okay with it too. Yeah, well, here's the thing, because if they fight in the street or a parking lot, some guy gets cracked, falls, hits his head, and cracks his head, my guy's going to jail.
Yeah.
This is bad enough. They want to throw down. All right, we got Friday open gym. We'll clear the mats, but then afterwards, the shit's over with.
Yep.
Never has happened, but it's been offered. So, yeah, and I'd rather them, hey, this is similar to a competition. It's mats. It's a controlled environment. If those guys want a piece of you, they can. It's never happened. So I'm glad that my guys realize, like, just that typical bully bullshit. You know how to fight. You stand up to them. They say they want to fight. All right, let's go here. No, I don't want to do it. Okay, problem solved.
Yeah.
I'm just old.
Have you ever seen? No, I like it. I like it a lot. Have you ever seen guys come in as the typical, maybe angry, they're getting into fighting because they have some sort of anger and it turns into something more healthy?
You're looking at them.
So tell me about that.
No, it's just one of those things of, I knew that fighting, athletics, the gym, that was my healthy outreach. Like, I'll be the first to admit that year that I was, drinking and doing stupid shit, I didn't have a healthy outlet. I wasn't training. I wasn't lifting. I wasn't doing anything. And I'm just a self-destructive fucking idiot. Like, if I don't have a healthy outlet, I'm self-destructive. And that's a lot of other people. Gremlin I talked about, Exhibit A. I guarantee if he wasn't at the gym, he would do something stupid and be handcuffed. So he's just one of the many examples. And honestly, I could probably go on and on about that list. Another really, I'll give you a military one, actually. Kid I've known since he was 14, 15. Like, he was just a little punk kid. But parents came him in, and he was doing football, weightlifting, and jiu-jitsu. Like, that was all he did. If he would not have done that, I guarantee that kid would have never graduated high school. Now he's in the Marine Corps, gunner, doing well, squad leader. And I was like, dude, the best thing. And he goes, dude, if I didn't have you as a coach to, like, tell me how it is and not give a shit that I was 16 going against 30-year-old men, I probably wouldn't have, been what I am in boot camp. He goes, you just gave me that tough love. And he goes, boot camp was easy because of the shit you did to me. I was like, hi, man, you're welcome. Got a big old Marine flag at the gym now from him.
Jeez.
So, yeah, that's just one of the many. And like I said, I know that, man, a lot of my students are a lot less angrier after practice. Problem solved.
I'm curious, do you have a certain sort of viewpoint about bringing young men in and making them into more of men? Like, what would you describe as a typical man or a good man, and how you might be trying to develop them into that?
That's a loaded question, man, that I don't really want to answer. But in my eyes, it's just, do you have a moral code? Okay. Yeah. Are you sticking to that moral code? If what you say to people, what you do, and you can justify it, okay, go for it. I'm going to say this. There's some people that I don't agree with their moral code. I don't agree with how they treat people. And those are people that do jiu-jitsu and people that don't do jiu-jitsu. So that's just, how I view life is. I have a certain moral code and how I view people, friends, and family and whatnot. And if you're aligned with that, all right, cool. Let's make sure you stick with that. If you have a certain moral code that just isn't jiving, you're just not going to last in the gym. So that's kind of how it is.
That's perfect. So I'm curious now, what is your origin into fighting?
So, very good question. And it's one of those things. It's very much like something that you hear a lot, like a shitty karate movie. I'm from a small 240 person town, like no gas station, no stoplight. And I grew up on a farm outside of that. So just middle of nowhere, central Illinois hick. And when I moved to Bloomington, and that's where State Farm Insurance, their headquarters is. So I went from, farm community, everyone knows everybody, to a very heavily populated town with different ethnicities. So I was a kid that got picked on. Skinny, nerdy kid from the country, moving to a city, got picked on. And just later in life, had that bully, and then stood up to him one day, popped him, broke his nose. Man, just typical bully, stood up, boom. It was over at lunch. And then later on, I started boxing and did football, boxing, track. And then after that, it was, it was one of those things of, I didn't even think about it. I always liked it. I always liked the Rocky movies. And during that time while I was boxing, I had a high school football coach that we had just gotten some brand new weight equipment from the university. It got donated to us. And he told me he was a personal trainer at Gold's Gym, and I didn't understand what that meant. So when I found, I didn't know that you could get a job at a gym or that teaching people how to work out was I didn't know that was a thing. I was 13, 14, just knew I liked to lift weights because that's what Rocky Balboa did. That's all. That was my education at that point. Yeah, 13. And then after that, I just kind of developed into more of, okay, weight training also helps with football. Weight training helps with this. Okay, you need to stay in the weight room. And then I learned that you do certain workouts for certain things. And then in college, I was so fucking annoying to my professors because there's people that college is like jail. I'm here to do my time and get out. Okay. I was one of those people of get me to the kinesiology, get me to the nutrition classes. And that's when I learned that the weight room transfers to this. And then during the time when I found out about UFC fighting, that was a little bit after my DUI. And again, I was like, okay, you need to get back into the weight room. So Gold's Gym Bloomington, started lifting again there and ran into a guy that had done wrestling. So just overhand, just over with for him. So about the UFC at that time, I knew like the original skeptical. So I was like, all right, man, we'll do this. And then I went to his fight and he won. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I was like, this is a real thing. So my dumb ass 2 months later signed up for a fight. Dropped the guy in 19 seconds. I just threw an overhand and connected. Wow. And then, like I didn't know shit what I was doing. And then I had another fight and I won. And then after that, I went, hey, maybe I should take a jiu-jitsu class. Wow, so then that's when I moved. Yeah, then that's when I moved to Champaign, and then I started working at the Gold's Gym there. I bounced at a bar, and then I started actually doing jiu-jitsu and learning. So it's one of those things where, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't have anybody teach me right from wrong. It was just, hey, you're interested in this, let's go do it. Hey, put yourself around these people. Let's just go do it. So that was kind of a longer explanation, but it was one of those of I was interested in something. I found people and I went and did it. I was interested in MMA when I found out that was a thing. I knew there was some people in Champaign. I moved there and there was a gym. So I found a Gold's Gym, a gym to teach me jiu-jitsu and MMA. And that just followed suit with Eastern. They had a good kines program. And then I found out, okay, they have some MMA and trade down there. Okay, I'll figure the rest out. So, it's just that I'm interested in this, I'm going to do this, and you can't tell me different. It's a theme of my life ever since I've been about 14 is I have something in my head I'm going to go do, and I'm going to go do it, and you can't tell me shit different.
I love that. And were you planning on at any point becoming a pro? I mean, I know you kind of mentioned you saw yourself being a better coach than a pro, but was there a point in time where you're like, oh, hell yeah, I want to be a pro, and you were fighting towards that?
Okay, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too. And that was also like when I got into jiu-jitsu, I was like, hey, this is going to be fun. And then I was like, well, if I open a gym or if I make money, that'll be cool. But if I don't, that's cool too. Like, we'll just figure this out. And even like opening the gym, because I opened the gym during COVID lockdown, like right in the fucking heat of it. So when everything was closed down. And I was just like, I got 5-6 guys in my garage. Screw this. Let's just open a gym and see what happens. And now it turned into 5.5 years later. I have the largest gym in town and the only one with the combat walls and the cage. So it turned into, hey, I'm just going to try something. No one else is doing it. Let's see what happens. To now it's, okay, this is unreal how fast this grew in 5.5 years. So it's kind of like anything else. If you have that interest in it, surround yourself with people that believe in you and just fucking go for it, man.
Jeez. So you had you said you had like 5 or 6 people training in your garage already?
Yeah. So this is what happened. I was with the team, and so I stepped away from, once I got my master's, I stepped away from fighting. I didn't do besides like personal training, I would teach people some basic jiu-jitsu or some boxing, but I didn't compete. I didn't go to a gym or nothing for 7 years. And that's when I did strongman, bodybuilding, CrossFit, like trying to scratch that itch with something competitive and athletic. But I always watched the UFC. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I used to train with that guy, and now he's still fighting. You know, like I still half-ass followed it.
Mhm.
But then after a while, I was like, let me just try. Let me just try practice, see if the old man still got it. And first practice, like, oh, yeah, I'm back. So I was with the team for about 2 years. And during that time, that coach was going through divorce. He was having some addiction problems. And I have a standard for myself. I also have a standard of my coach. And when you ain't fitting the bill, I'm going to do something else. So circle back to Tommy Butler. He was part of Heath Pedigo, and this is right before COVID. And he had talked to me about him, and I was kind of like, all right, I'd never heard of him, but I love and respect anything Tommy says. So I went down right when COVID was starting. I went down for a practice, and there's no other way to say it anyway, but Tommy just fucking worked me. And he had me against really good guys, and I had to run outside and puke. And that had never happened at the gym I was at. And I hadn't felt like that in a long time. Came back in, Tommy put his hand on my shoulder. Hey, man, how you feeling, buddy? I was like, dude, this sucked. And he goes, yeah, well, since you were a bitch and went outside and puked, you're back down. And I was like, motherfucker's calling me out. Like, no. Went back down. I had to go outside and puke again. And just came back and just went, I got it. I'm back down. And that's how Tommy got me. Is he knew how to work me, and he knew he would hook me. And afterwards, we went out to dinner, and I was like, okay, Tommy, what the fuck just happened? What's going on? Like, what is this? I need this in my life. And that was the moment that Tommy definitely just had me convinced of, I need to be a part of this PSF team. And he was an hour and a half drive. So it turned into me not going to my team once a week, driving an hour and a half, getting the shit beat out of me for 2 hours, driving an hour and a half, and I was smiling ear to ear the whole time. Like, I loved every minute. 20 minutes to my team, I guess I'll go. Like, I wasn't excited. So then it turned into me driving twice a week, an hour and a half, loving every minute. And I just saw my skill evolving because of that healthy environment, a hard, nitty-gritty environment. So then Tommy said, I was like, hey, Tommy, I got 5-6 guys, and I was teaching whatever Tommy taught me. I went back and taught my guys. Like, I didn't hold back. Nice. I said, this is exactly what he's doing. Nice. This is what we're doing. And like, we haven't done this before. I was like, that's why the shit works. Get going. Like, so they all loved it. And then we got a couple more. So I think at that time we had about 10 guys cycling in and out of my garage. And they said, hey, when all this COVID shit happens and it's done, they go, can we just train with you and do this? We don't want to do what our old coach is doing. And I was like, all right, way to put the pressure on me, boys. So I had a conversation with Tommy, and he said, if you want this, you need to have a blessing from Heath, and you need to go down to Mount Vernon. So I was like, all right, this is where we go for it. So I talked to Heath, and I went down and stayed, I think, 3 or 4 days. I think it was 4. And that's when they had the laundromat. So it was small room, 1 bathroom, 1 door. And I have never had the shit beat out of me like that in a long time. And the guys actually, they all went after me because they were like, this 30-year-old old man, we're going to get him. First practice, it was rough. And then my accommodations, I had 2 pillows and a blanket and the wrestling mat. And I just used, after the practice, I stripped down to my underwear in the front, water bottle to rinse off. I soaked up, 2 water bottles to rinse off, and it was water from the sink. And then I told the guys, hey, guys, I'm going to go get something to eat. Do you guys want anything? Because they had like 5 or 6 guys living in the gym. Like, that was their home. I was like, you guys want anything? We'll go grab something to eat. And they were just like, yeah, we'll see you later. Just very standoffish, just fuck you, new guy. And I was like, okay. Like, I kind of knew what was going on, but I didn't. I came back, and those guys like, oh, you came back. I was like, yeah, I asked if y'all wanted food. Like, I was going to spring for it. So I just sat in the corner, read my book, went to sleep. Next morning, hey, you guys want some coffee or anything? Oh, yeah, we'll see you when you get back. So I went and Panera breakfast coffee, came back. Oh, you came back. I didn't understand. We're getting to that part.
Yeah.
Practice, whooped on me, shower. You guys want anything? I knew what was coming. Came back. Oh, you came back. Yep, I came back. Practice, eat. So this happened 2 days in a row. Just every scenario repeated. So third day, guys, I'm going to go get something to eat. And before you guys know, I'm fucking coming back. I will be back. And then after that practice, then they said, hey, we're going to go out to Dreau's place. You want to take a shower, have dinner with us? I was like, oh, okay. So they had the bonfire. I showered. Alejandro came up. He's like, oh, Tommy's guy's still here. Like, all right, what the fuck's going on? Why do you guys keep saying this? Like, I didn't understand. They said, like, well, we've had about 10 guys come and say they want to join. And after 1-2 days, they say they're going to go get something to eat, make a phone call, and they leave. They don't come back. They go, you're the only person that's came back consistently. I went, oh, I see. You were trying to get me out and I wouldn't. And they said, like, kind of, this is how we train and people don't like it. It's like, dude, I love it. And if I would have known about this place after grad school, I would have just moved in the gym. Like I loved every minute of it. So the next day I finally met Heath and them. And this is the truth. I went against one of their top dogs, collided heads, head started bleeding. So I'm there, bandage on my head. And Heath went up to me. And I knew the test. I knew what was coming. Heath was like, you okay? You want to quit? And I was like, dude, it's all good, baby. I was ugly before I even came here. Let's just stop and I'm back in. And I did. I just once it, yeah, I'm not pretty. I don't care. So once it stopped bleeding, I went back out. And I got my ass handed to me, but I never quit. And I met Keith and we talked. And I said, hey, me and a couple guys from Bloomington, we want to start our own thing. Could you give us some kind of guidance? And, Tommy vouched for me. And he goes, well, I tell you what, if you ever come back here, we'll talk. And then he just walked off on me. So my cocky ass went, I'll be back next Sunday. And that's a 3.5-hour drive.
Oh, geez.
So I drove back home. Yeah, I drove back home. And next weekend, I brought Maddox and another guy. And Maddox is student number 1. And he goes, oh, you came back? I was like, yes, sir. I promise you I would. And then did the practice. And then he goes, hey, why don't you step in my office? I was like, where's the office? And he goes, oh, it's the mats in the corner. All right, here we go. And, we had very short talk. Like, it really wasn't a long talk. But he goes, I've seen you here. You never quit. You talked to Tommy, and he gave me some guidance. And then he said, let me know what you need help with. Go open a gym. And I really believe that was kind of a test of, are you actually going to do this? Are you actually going to develop this? And and it turned into, I was renting space from a guy who had like a big CrossFit style gym. And 3 nights a week, we would get our mats, put them down, run class, clean them, flip them, fold them, put them away. Jeez. And and it was during COVID lockdown. And I had people call the city on me, try to get me closed down, just didn't work. And there's a couple times where it took an hour to put all the mats down. Gosh. And then cleaning, putting away, 1.5 hours. And there was a couple times that not a single damn person showed up. So I put them all down by myself. No one showed up. And I said, this is what you do. I folded it, lifted it up, said, this is all going to be worth it one day. I put it away. Flipped it, lifted, it's all going to be worth it. Every fucking step, every time. And I had every reason to quit during that time. During COVID, no one showing up. But I was like, no, man, that's part of this story. Keep going. And then our mats that I spent all the money of the savings, every single dime I had into these mats, they were black rollout mats, had them 2-3 months. And then I was trying to be a good guy and help out a local wrestling coach. They ruined the mats because how they rolled them up the wrong way ruined every single mat that I owned. And I was completely broke at that time. Yeah, and I didn't even get a sorry, not a, hey, what can I do to make this right? No, he just blocked everything. He goes, well, I thought we did it the right. I was like, well, you didn't. Blocked me. Still this day, not even an apology. So
Jeez.
Maddox, student number 1, and he's always going to be near and dear to my heart. He let us run the gym out of his basement for about 3 months. So I had about 10 to 15 guys occasionally parked in his front lawn, walk down the basement. We had the ruined mats, just duct tape the shit out of them, make them work. And I was running a gym out of a student's basement for free, and got the cops called on us a couple times. And we explained what was going on. And it was just, and during that time I had a broke elbow too. So I can't tell you how many times I came home in my driveway, just cried. And I even texted Heath to quit. Like I had it sent, like ready to go. And I literally was like, okay, you go home and you sleep. And if that's the truth, in the morning you send it. So it was wrote out about why I was quitting, what was going on in my life. Went to bed. And it was 3 times for sure, maybe 4. We'll just say 3. Next morning I was like, dude, you don't want that on you. You don't want that to be a part of your life story that you quit on this. You suck it up. And ended up getting a 660 square foot gym. So about 6 small circles, a creepy hallway. I swear to God, it was a creepy hallway that we all changed in, and a bathroom. And we made it work for about 1.5 years, outgrew the place. And then we moved into a 2,000 square foot gym. And that was 3rd shift doing security at a hospital, making it work. And we grew into that 2,000 square foot place. Same thing. Dumped all my savings I had and like recouped, dumped it all. Like I think I had $70 to my name for about 5-6 days. Like that one was scary. Jeez. And then I was like, I'll never outgrow this place. This is my max. This is the biggest gym in town. You know, we're done. In 4 months, we were running out of room. I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, I didn't know what was happening. And then during that time, Sabina and I were starting to get very, very serious, and she ended up moving in with me. And I can truly say, if it wasn't for her having the right woman in my life to help me, and she does all the memberships. She got into photography, and now she's a pro photographer, does amazing work, and all the support. Like the guys come in and they'll give her a hug before they even touch me. They're like, no, I want to say hi to Sabina first. I'm like, thanks. But I mean, it's cool because there's some of these guys that they don't have parents, and I am not the soft ass coach. There's guys that have had bad days and just gone in Sabina's office, just talk to her the whole time, and they leave bed like, hey, I didn't need practice. I just need to talk to somebody like Sabina. And I was like, yeah, man, I got to do the same thing when I'm all done with you guys. So having her has been such an amazing blessing. I will always say, if it wasn't for my woman, I wouldn't have what I have with the gym. She was the missing link that we needed. And then we were going to move from our 2,000 square foot gym into a 4,000 square foot gym. And for 6 months, they never put in a fucking toilet. They wouldn't get the building permits. And we had planned, I had planned 3 times to get this stuff started, and we couldn't grow, and we ran out of room. So finally they said to me, you know something, apparently this isn't working out for you. They're like, feel free to look somewhere else. And I am the wrong person to give that green light to. So I drove around crying for about 10 minutes in my car, like ugly girl got broke up with on prom night crying. Like it was I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't pretty. But then again, I was kind of the same thing, when I was crying in my driveway. I was like, dude, you're not going out like this. So drove around, and 20 minutes later, I found the gym we're at now, and it's a 9,000. So going from 2,000 to 9,000 is a whole other animal, brother. But it was a beautiful location. The parking lot was unreal. So I called the guy, and he goes, yeah, it's available. When do you want to see it? And I go, how fast can you get your ass here? And I said, I'm waiting in the parking lot. And he said 15 minutes, and 20 minutes later, I was in there looking around at the place. And I couldn't believe the size of it, the availability. And the part that was extremely this was meant to be, all of our mats fit in there. because I had the mats for my 2,000 square foot gym, but I also purchased mats for a 4,000 square foot gym. So the plan was sell the 2, keep the 4. Moved into that gym. I was like, well, I guess we have to keep all the mats. So what we ended up doing is our 9,000 square foot gym, and it was originally an Aldi. It was the original Aldi in my town. To give people references, it used to be a grocery store. Yeah. So when you think about that, you're like, oh, that's big. So our 2,000 square foot gym, the entire back storage is that gym. The exact mats, the cage, but the only difference is I think it's like 27 or 28,000. So we have a weight room now, hanging bags, and a changing room in the back room. And then our front room is over 5,000. So I have 2 full wrestling mats in the front room, the Craig Jones and combat walls. And my fiance has a beautiful photography studio in their office. So her business, a photography studio and office, is her own space. We have 2 full wrestling mats with CGI walls. I have a small little shit office that I could care less. And then we have an MMA gym in the back. So there's 2 gyms and Sabina's photography business. And then upstairs, there's a half kitchen and 2 bathrooms. So it was, and this all happened in 5.5 years. Like, it was one of those of, okay, dude, you've never taken a business class, accounting, marketing. How's this growing? It's just kind of, it's been a cool process, but also one of those of, I remember just hearing stories of people with gyms or people with business doing stuff like this. I'm like, yeah, this is part of your story now, bud. Like, now you just have to figure all that stuff out, all the intangibles of running a gym and being a business owner. Yeah, that was okay, man. You're in it now. Let's go do this. So all the coaching that I did, that all worked, and now I'm taking that coaching into running the gym and now having other coaches do the same thing. So have a youth wrestling program now that's growing freakishly fast. We got 30 kids in it, and it just started this week. Yeah, and the coaches that we have, kind of like we talked about, their morals, their characters are amazing. We have a kid who was a D1 wrestler and ranked 18th in the nation. We have an NAIA wrestler, and he's a head coach, Zach, and then he also was a wrestling coach at a high school, and he's a PE teacher. Amazing with kids coaches, both of them. And then we have Danny, who is also a local junior high wrestling coach. He's the other coach. So you got 3 amazing guys, and I never wrestled, but there is such a need for a wrestling program in this town. I said, okay. I talked to the coaches. We all got on the same page, said, you guys run it. I support it. And we have a very good youth wrestling program that's starting and gaining momentum. We have an MMA team. We have a grappling team. And then my amazing fiance has her own business in the gym. Like, it's just wild some days to think about that.
Jeez. So what do you feel like you can attribute the success to if you say you haven't, done any sales, marketing, business stuff? How have you seen now, maybe in hindsight, that you were really doing things right?
This is what I did is I will always be the first to admit that I do not know everything. I'm not the best coach, not the best gym owner. But what I do is I have a lot of connections to other gym owners and other business owners and other coaches. And I just never went into this thinking I knew anything. I went into this and I would call coaches and gym owners that I respected. And I said, hey, can I buy you lunch? Hey, can I steal an hour phone call for you? Hey, can I lean on you with some questions? There's some guys that don't talk to me at all. There's others that I literally have sent that and they just blocked me because they thought it was a competition. But there's a lot of guys that, hey, yeah, dude, you were always a good dude. I want to see you be successful. Those are the guys I reach out to. Those are the guys that if I have my freak out moments, because, I've had them, buddy. Hey, what's going on right now? Like, what's going on? They're like, you're in this stage. Yeah, you're going to be fine. This is what's going on. So any of the guys who are way ahead of me in the gym world, reach out and talk to them, ask them for help and guidance. And you're gonna get the guys that aren't gonna help you, or they're just not gonna give you good advice. They just talk about themselves. Hey, that's fine, man. There's other guys that are an open book and they want to help you. You just know who to look out for. And I have no problem whenever I travel, like my fiance, I go on vacation, I'll stop at other gyms. And if I can't train, I at least, hey, can you give me a tour and just learn from other gyms? And I've learned from CrossFit gyms. I've learned from weightlifting gyms. I've learned from a lot. And it's been a lot of fun. So it's just, knowing that it's okay to ask other people and admit, hey, I don't know shit. I'm a rookie business owner.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually how I started this podcast. I started reaching out to people in the sports psychology world and trying to figure out, like, hey, what are you teaching people? How are you running your coaching sessions? And what are you charging? And just all of a sudden, I'm like having these deeper conversations, and I'm like, oh man, this would actually, if I recorded these would make a great podcast. Yeah, I've always been huge about lots of people being honest and just from a place of passion, not from a place of like, I'm wanting to take from you, I'm wanting to pick your brain. It's like, hey, I'm really passionate about this thing. I've got a big goal. Just wondering if there's any sort of nuggets you could pass my way, that would help me. Yeah, my journey.
Oh yeah. My favorite question to ask is, what was your biggest fuck up? And I say, I'm not saying this because I want to throw shade at you or I want to put you down. Whatever your big screw up was, I just want to know so I don't make it. And anybody I've asked that to, whether it was a coach, a gym owner, or anything, they go, that's a really good question. Here's one. And some guys are like, I got 2 or 3 for you. and like I said, there's some I'm just like, that was just dumb on your part. And other ones I'm like, I was actually considering doing that. And they go, no, do this. So just being blunt and saying, hey, this is my biggest fuck up. It's a good question to ask. And I even tell guys too, like, so the guys that are getting ready to compete, I tell them, I was like, hey, you want to know what my biggest fuck up was? My first jiu-jitsu competition? And they're like, what? And I go, about 30 minutes before we parked, I asked how to score points because I didn't know. Yeah, no, I signed up for a jiu-jitsu class, and then he told me the price. I had to work about another month to kind of like switch my schedule around a little bit. And then 2 months later, there's a double elimination tournament in Indiana. It's called the Hoosier Open. I actually still have the shirt. Double elimination went 0-2, baby. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Yeah, but I tell my students that, like, my buddy Dan Hornbuckle, who fought for the Bellator belt, like he fought Ben Askren. We were both white belts on the way to that tournament. He won it. He was already seasoned. Hey, how do we score points? Like, what do we do? So I tell the guys, like, guys, even your own coach, his first jiu-jitsu tournament didn't know what the hell he was doing and lost them both. Like, so this gym, man, there's a lot I don't know, but trust me, boy, I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to figure it out. And again, that's just that risk tolerance I have. Hey, I'm struggling with this, man. Can you help me out? Can you give me some pointers, some nuggets? And just a lot of people are too afraid of admitting they don't know something or they're wrong. I tell them, like, guys, most of this shit, I'm winging it. I'm just seeing what kind of shit will stick against the wall when I throw it.
Up is so far from this gym experience you've had?
The wrestling coach. Here's I would say with bringing staff on. Now here's why. And like I said, this is part of me learning is when I first became a personal trainer, I'm a personal trainer, so I know everything about personal training. 23 years later, I still am learning stuff from personal training. So when I wanted to grow my gym, you know how to wrestle? Do you know how to coach wrestling? Yeah, of course I do. Okay, you're the wrestling coach. I never saw him teach. I don't know how he teaches. How does he treat people? Does he even fit in with this gym? And I've done that with striking coaches. Also is they said they know how to. I watch them strike. I watch them wrestle. Oh, yeah, they know. Oh, yeah, you're the coach now. So in our gym, there very much is a culture. There's a way that we do things. So now this has been my rule now. somebody comes in, they say they want to be a coach. Cool. You have to be a teammate for at least 4 to 6 months first. Because if you don't fit in with the team, and if these students don't like you, then you're not going to last. Because end of the day, all of my students, and this is another thing how I always took this. I did this even with personal training, because I've seen this personal trainers and coaches, they think they're hot shit and it's a privilege for other people to train with them. No, every single one of my students, they are my boss. At any point, they can fire me and go somewhere else. So that's how I look at that is, hey, I'm the coach and I'm the leader, but also too, we keep it so that the majority of the gym, it's a culture. We all do the same thing. We all support each other. If I'm doing something stupid or shitty, I've been called out before. One of my really good friends, Brendan, if I'm doing things not right, Brendan, there's a couple guys that'll call me out. Brendan's one of them. He's going to be glad I pointed that out. But then there's also too that the coaches, I've called them out because like, hey man, do we do that? Are you supposed to be doing that right now? Like, would I be doing that? And they're all right, not going to last. So the guys that have been around, they're okay to come into coaching. But the one thing I would recommend to anybody, if you're a new gym owner or new business, somebody claims they know how to do it. I understand that 30 and 90 day thing now. I really do. So I do that with people that want to, hey, I want to coach. I want to do this. Be a teammate first. Make sure you fit in. Make sure you know how things, because the coaches are like, well, why aren't they interested in what I'm showing? Well, you want to why? Because they're paying for what they want. They don't give a shit what you like.
Yep.
So that fine line with bringing coaches in, make sure that the coaches fit the gym environment, and also too that you can work with them. Because I got some buddies who are coaches. Hey, I know they're a good coach, but I wouldn't want to work with them. And that's okay. Like, hey man, you're a good guy, you're a good coach at your gym, but how I run things at my gym, we just wouldn't jive. And that's okay. That's part of figuring shit out and just being a business owner.
That's perfect. What do you feel like you're working on now or working through to either maintain the gym? I mean, I would say grow the gym, but I don't even think you need to grow anymore. So what are you working on now to maximize what you have there at the gym?
Yeah. So you're right. I don't need to grow the gym. We got enough space. Like space is no longer the issue. For me, it's growing the wrestling program. And before the 2,000 square foot gym, we only had jiu-jitsu 2 days a week, striking 2 days a week, and then open gym Friday. Now what I'm doing is 5 days a week grappling in the front, 5 days a week stand up in the back. So now what it is just filling out those classes more. And yeah, I think they're stand up in the back and jiu-jitsu in the back same time. So I tell people when they walk in the door, I'm like, hey, do you want to punch people in the face or do you want to roll around and choke people? Because it's both going on at the same time. You just decide which one you want to do that day. And also, too, the weight room's big enough that some guys like, hey, I don't want to do anything. I just want to lift weights and hang out. Cool. Get your ass in the back. So it's just one of those. It's a multifunctional gym. It's just more and more getting the advertising out and getting the word out of where we're at and what we're doing. Because we were in a hidden kind of industrial place, and now we're at a shopping center right in the middle of town. So it's also the move, letting people know. And that's just, it's going to take time, but it's that boring every day talking to people, every day getting your name out, every day sending emails. You know, it's the business side that I'm hustling and running, and, you know, pros and cons.
Yeah. They say that entrepreneurship is the biggest personal development journey. So how do you feel like that's affecting you right now? What is the thing that you're working through personally to become a better business owner?
I'd say this is for me, for the business owner, and I really do like that question because it's definitely evolved. Because I think first starting out that 660 square foot gym that we moved in from when we were homeless in Max's basement, the first step is, how do you run a gym? How do you do automatic payments? And that's another thing I would recommend anybody do the gym right away, do automatic payment, because trying to collect cash from people, once you hit about 30, 40 students, you're like, no more cash. It's, trying to collect from 30, like trying to say I got like 120, 130 students. I couldn't imagine trying to get cash from 100 students, remembering what they pay at that one day. Like, oh, that ain't happening, baby. So the first gym is, hey, can you run a gym? Do you know how to get an EIN number? Do you know how to do your taxes, set up utilities? And I'll be the first to admit, I still don't know how to set up utilities. That was Sabina. I don't know how to do those at all. And then the second gym, the 2000, that was, okay, do you really want to make this work? Because that was, that gym was almost the same size as my home. So figuring that one out. Yeah, figuring out like, okay, you own a business, you work full time, and you have this. Like, how do you figure all this out? So that was when I really started to reach out to other gym owners, going to visit gyms, figuring that out. And I even flew all the way out to North Carolina for 5 days. There was Avery Richards, my boy. He owns a PSF out in North Carolina. And my buddy Brendan, he was there for his job, and it was the same town. So I slept on a couch for 5 days, and I was at that gym every day. Avery, how do you run a gym? What do you do? How does this work? And he has a 5,000 square foot gym. And like I said, I was moving to that 4,000. So I was like, okay, I need to learn. I need to visually see it. I need to touch it. How do you do this? And I learned so much from that 5 days out there, brought it back. And then honestly, that was kind of one of those like, okay, you can do this, but you have to make it work because of the risk reward factor. And then when it came available, the 9,000, I was like, okay, this is where you really sack up. And I'm going to say the biggest struggle for this 9,000 square foot gym, and this is the first time I've gone public with saying this, so you hope you feel privileged from the civic side. So they gave me an amount that you have to have with your last month and some type of deposit. And I was like, okay, I can clear out my cash in my safe. I can clear out the savings in my 2 different bank accounts. Like, I can make this work. So I was overly confident, just, cocky asshole. Yeah, I got this. Let's sign this place. We got it. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, because I was so confident, like his exact words were, well, because you answered so confidently, you could come up with that amount. And it's a trust. So there's 7 people that own this property. They go, well, since you were so confident, you have to come up with $7,000 more dollars.
Oh no.
So that was one of those. And here was the other part of this that people don't know. This is the behind the scenes. I had already purchased Sabina's engagement ring. I had already, we'd already saved and paid for our vacation that was happening. He said this literally 10 days before vacation, before I was supposed to propose. And all of a sudden I had to come up with $7 more grand. I was like, yeah, but at the same time, I outgrew that gym. The 4,000 square foot gym wasn't happening. And you have a beautiful gym, location, parking, like everything that you could dream of is right there. How can you come up with $7 grand in a week? Yeah. Sold all my I sold my shotguns, pistols. Like I sold a bunch of guns, my silver bullion, my watches. I cashed in some stock. It was literally you go all in and you make the shit happen. So the risk tolerance, it was up there with my blood pressure, baby. But it was those of, okay, I've read Shoe Dog with Phil Knight. I've read Elon Musk's biography. Like you read those biographies or those books. Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And I saw it behind you, so it was appropriate. But you hear all those entrepreneurs, those guys who go all in, they're fucking broke, and then it's scary, but you just show up every day and it works out. I told this to all the students. I said, you guys have all heard those stories. I was like, you just got the front row seat to this guy's story. So I'm just the living proof of going all in, making this work every day. And it was kind of wild because we ended up moving in, and then everything was good to go before, like, I think 3 days before we went on vacation. I made that money happen, wrote that check. I was like, okay, honey, I ain't buying any souvenirs. And then,
gosh. Yeah.
And then to top it all off, I got to propose to Sabina on a mountain in Tennessee during a sunrise. So that was kind of the tap off of you go all in on your dream, and then you ask the woman of your dreams to marry you on a mountaintop. It was really cool. And now it's okay. You have your gym, you got the woman, but that don't mean you get to sit back on the couch and it's just going to work. It's I was like, we had an amazing time. We came back and I was like, okay, honey, it's time to get to work now. And she was right there with me. I was like, every time we've moved, those times I've had, I've been at the gym till 2 a.m. just figuring shit out or crying like a little girl. She's there for me. Like she's supporting me with everything. And when we moved into the 9,000 square foot gym, we moved everything from the 2,000 square foot gym, shit in my garage, shit I had in two of my friends' storages. Everything got moved in one day. We had trucks, trailers, and guys just loading their cars up. We started at 8 a.m. and we got done at 11 at night, and we just kept moving. And I was on crutches the whole time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was
still too. Wow, no way.
Yeah, so I haven't even. We've been at our gym for 4 months, and I haven't been able to train once. But it's one of those of, you're a gym owner now. You manage this place. You get that gym going, and eventually you'll be there. But you don't stop this dream just because you got an injury.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that all these guys have been seeing is, this. I have a couple guys that have podcasts and other guys who are, it'd be cool to own a gym. And I go, well, you guys see the struggle, you see the stress. It ain't easy, but it can be done. So definitely it's been a hell of a journey the past 5.5 years. And this gym and being able to propose to my love, around the same time was a really cool one-on-one.
Gosh. So I'm really curious if you can go back in your head real quick. You described a scene of putting those mats away and telling yourself it's all going to be worth it. And then you also talked about working full time while doing the gym on the side. And I didn't really know that was even a thing. So first of all, what were you working at full time? What was your full time job? And what were you? Yeah. No. What was allowing you to maintain that attitude of it's all going to be worth it? Like what? How did you do that?
So my full-time job is actually do security at an emergency department. And and the first 2 years of me running the gym, and also the first 2 years of my relationship with Sabina, I was working night shift. So I would get off work at 6 a.m., let the dogs out, go coach in the morning, sleep during the day, wake up about 2, 3, have breakfast, coach the evening class, and then dinner was my lunch. And then I would go to work at 11 at night and then work through the night. And somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m. was dinner.
Yeah.
And then, do that. So luckily for me, all through college, I worked at bars. I was a bouncer, bartender, and personal trainer. So I knew that I understood the balance of working night, sleep 3 hours, go train to 6 a.m. because that's Dan, the gym owner's wife that you have to coach. And then you go to class, then you catch a little nap, then you go work out, and then you go coach again. So like I kind of had that understanding of a sleep pattern. And I'm going to tell you, man, it was not hard at all. It was hard. It was not fun at all. But also, too, I knew exactly what I wanted in life, and I knew it was just going to take a lot of hard damn work. And when I first met Tommy, when I was at Eastern, he was working night shift, and would still coach us. And he was married with kids. Yeah. Heath running the gym. He worked night shift at a factory. He's a father also, and he was running the gym. So when you know those stories, okay, dude, you're not special. Just do you want to do this? So, you know, when I was in college, I wanted to be a bouncer because you know, and that was just one of those things. That was me just trying to be the tough guy. I did have fun doing it. I still got friends from my bouncing days. Actually, my lawyer, my business and home lawyer, I bounced with him in Champaign when I was fighting.
Nice.
So, yeah, that I tell people I got the toughest lawyer in town.
But
that was, yeah. And he said to me, he's like, Jared, I remember when you were bouncing, working at Gold's and still going to Eastern, like you were making that shit happen back then. So that was just one of those, I wanted to be in the gym, the bouncing, fighting. That was, you know, kind of similar environment back in my day. It's different now, but back in my day, it was somewhat similar. So that was just kind of like, okay, man, you've been through this. You're just older and the stakes are higher. Same thing. Be a good person, work hard, set the tone and set the environment. And that's just never changed. I'm just not afraid to work hard for the gym life because that's been a part of my life since I was 14. And kind of backpedal when you know, I said I've always been in the gym world. Kind of give you a little preference and, you know, statute of limitations. So we're good now. But when I was in high school, I found out our school was a little bit older, but there's a certain door that you kind of just, you know, push, pull, and it opened up, you know, just kind of figure it out when you're at that school. And I was like, hold on, if I open up that door and then I walk down this hallway, there's no chains, and then I can climb over into the weight room at any time I wanted to. So I broke into my high school a lot. Like I definitely break just to lift weights. And probably about 2 months ago, I actually ran into my old coach at a meet, and I told him that. And he goes, okay, Jared, I ain't gonna lie. We knew somebody was going in there, but we couldn't figure it out. And there wasn't cameras back then. I was like, yeah, it was me. So yeah, so there was times when I was, you know, in high school, and I just didn't want to do whatever. And I would just go, I didn't have money. So I would just break into the school just to lift weights. I didn't do anything malicious. I didn't break anything. I literally would just be in the weight room 2-3 hours by myself. And even, you know, high school, my perv buddies would be reading Playboy Maxin. I was Men's Health and Flex magazine back in the day. Like that was just, yeah. And just the gym world was going to be my world at an early age. So working hard for a gym dream, to me, it's just, I'll work hard for that. Work hard for some corporate job. Nah, I can't get behind that. And that's just me. That's just me. Anybody else, they can have a corporate job, love it, and feel like that's loyal to them. Hey man, go for it. That's just not my treat, not my thing.
Yeah, you got that risk tolerance. You're not willing to deal with it.
No, I had a corporate job at State Farm, and that lasted about 2 months. And I live to work out. Like I love to work out. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just, you know, that's my peace, my serenity. I was working at State Farm, and I didn't understand what that sedentary lifestyle they talk about in college. I didn't understand that shit.
Yeah.
And sitting down and working corporate America, I was having to mix a Monster energy drink with 3 scoops of pre-workout just to go work out. Yeah, I never so smart, man. I'll do some stuff, but I was just like, that's not good. So
yeah.
When about 2 weeks of me doing that, I went up to my I can't remember her name, it was my manager, and I was like, hey, it's Monday, and I was like, Friday is going to be my last day. Like this just isn't my thing. I wanted to try it, but it's just not my thing. And she goes, well, Jared, you probably should give us a 2-week notice, so that way then if something happens, you can ever come back and work here. And I went, I'm never coming back. It's okay. It's all good.
No thanks.
And then Friday, I ended up just clocking in, and for about an hour, I looked up a workout video. I went to the bathroom, and I just got in the car and went to the gym. So I don't know how long I got paid for that day, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
And then I had a suit and tie sales job. And that was, and same thing. I lasted 5-6 months. I did very good because I know how to talk to people. I don't shut up, but I hated every minute of it. Like every minute I was like, when can I get out of here and go work out? When can I get out of here and get to gold? And that was one of those where I called John Morgan, the owner of Golds. And I said, hey, John, what can we do? Like, what do I need to do to get back here? And that was Friday when I had left the gym. He goes, weren't you at the gym working out? I was like, yeah, I'm in the parking lot. He goes, barbecue place, just go. So I literally went to the next parking lot, had lunch with the owner of Golds, John Morgan, and he goes, okay, just come back, start personal training. We'll figure it out. So that was anytime I've tried to do anything else, I end up going back to the gym. And that's just, now, unfortunately, Gold's Gym is closed in my town, and same in Champaign. But those owners, man, they gave me some equipment from Gold's and that stuff that I'll never leave it. So it's kind of cool because I got some Gold's Gym equipment at my gym. And I was like, that's where it needs to be. That's where it'll always stay. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just a gym guy that never gave up on my dream. No matter how many people tried to talk shit or throw my name under the bus, I'm going to keep coming. I ain't giving up.
Yeah, so when you were putting those mats away and you were saying it's all going to be worth it, did you ever picture what you have now? What was the vision in your mind at the time?
My last gym was my dream. That is a 2,000 square foot gym, size of I think we had 1,600 square feet or 1,700 square feet of mats, small weight room, a bathroom, and a shower room. And we had a good front desk. And, I was like, I'll never outgrow this place. 4 or 5 months later, all of a sudden I was having 40, 50 people on the mat. And I was like, I'm not that cool. What are you doing here? Like, why is this full? Like, I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand how my marketing was attracting people. And then I also didn't realize that my coaching style, because it's completely different, it actually was kind of refreshing to people. So, I tell people, like, we're not any other gym in town. I sure as hell am not like any other coach, from the way I talk to the way I train. And it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just different. And if you want to be a part of this, hey, man, come on, get on my crazy train. If this style is too much for you or my mouth is too much for you, hey, man, that's cool. I got some other friends that own gyms, but I'm not going to change just because you don't like the way I do things. And for some reason, it's working out. The full detail explanation, I can't give you one. I'm just being me and different. And for some reason, that shit's working out for me.
Yeah.
Just very authentic. And you know what you get.
Yeah. Is Pedigo is that like a franchise?
So Heath Pedigo is my coach. He's in Mount Vernon. So a franchise, and that's a good question. So a franchise is like a Gold's Gym. That is a franchise. Mm-hmm. So you have to pay royalties, and there's a whole bunch of, you have to do things this way. There's a lot of things you have to do with a traditional franchise.
Yeah.
So yes, we're a franchise, but my gym and how I do things is completely different than Tommy. It's different than Avery. It's different than Aaron and Rockford. It's different than Michael and Decatur. I kind of give you a couple coaches, but every single one of us coach differently. Every single one of us run our gyms differently. But as far as like the core jiu-jitsu, that's very, very similar. But so yes and no. So we're all PSF. But the guidelines for PSF is very loose. Like I said, there's other associations and affiliations. It is by the book. You have to go this way. They secret shop you. You get caught. You're kicked out. And we just not like that.
And so is there any competition amongst you guys then, as far as like tournaments and stuff goes? Like how would the I guess outward public know if Jared Game's team from Pedigo won a tournament versus somebody else's team from Pedigo, or would just Pedigo get the credit?
Just Pedigo gets the credit. And I'm one of those too. Like when there's team trophies that get hung out, I always say give it to Heath or Tommy. Like I our team has got some because it's happened in our hometown. But I always offer it to Heath or Tommy because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have shit. So whenever there's a time for trophies or awards, I'm one of those like give it to my leaders. It comes downhill, give it to them. And if they want to give it to me, then I give it to Sabina to put up somewhere. Like that stuff doesn't give me the thrills. But when we're competing, we're all PSF. The towns don't matter. And like I said, as far as getting the accolades, which town, I don't give a shit about that stuff. I know some people do. I'm just not that guy.
So if obviously the trophies and stuff doesn't necessarily give you the thrill, or the tournaments, is it just the coaching itself, just the relationships and developing other fighters?
Yeah, because here's, like I said, I fought, I've competed. When I'm all healed up, no more getting hit in the head. I'll still will do jiu-jitsu tournaments, but I never did anything big, special, great. I'm 43 now. When I turn 44, 45, let's just say I win worlds or pans, Joe Rogan ain't calling me. No one cares about a 45-year-old winning a major tournament. That's for the young kids. And I came to realize I didn't have those opportunities while I was younger, and it is what it is. Now at this point, my legacy and how I'm going to be remembered for as a coach. I want to be remembered as a good coach that gave these kids good support, took them places, and they are world champions. Like my legacy is going to be my coaching and the gym, and that's just what I'm looking forward to. Is this that transition? It was tough at first, but this past year I have truly embraced being a coach and being remembered as a coach the rest of my life. I'm great with that.
I love that. So is that a part of building your brand then itself, as representing you and yourself right now, like being on my podcast? Because I have to wonder, like, if you were over the next year to become, your coaching style is so amazing that they're producing awesome results and your guys are going and winning, these tournaments and everything. How do you as a coach leave a legacy, outside of Pedigo?
Well, I am planning on starting a coaching podcast where I interview a bunch of coaches because I'm very intrigued by that. I got the sports psychology, and I've had good coaches and I've had bad coaches. And, there are some people that think I'm a bad coach. There's people that think I'm the best coach. Both are right. Both of them are right in their eyes. Like there's some people, I'm a shitbag, terrible coach. Awesome. I hope you find a better coach. There's other people, their coach is terrible, and I'm the best thing since sliced bread. In my eyes, I think Heath and Tommy are the best coaches. I will always say they are better coaches than me. So for me, I'm going to be viewed by some people as an amazing coach that helped people, that changed people's lives, and other people I'm not. And that's cool. For me, it's just I hope that the people that I truly affected, whether positive or negative, they know they had good intentions. And I feel like if you really know me, you know that. But, it's all right. Win some, lose some with people.
I love it. So over the next year, if it's not tournament wins, what would you say is your metrics of success to know that you're moving in the direction you want to be headed?
Honestly, there's three things that I care about, and that's going to be this year, next year, 5 years from now. That Sabina's happy, she appreciates what I'm doing, and she thinks I'm a good person. That's number one. Two is Heath and Tommy. Those are I pull up my phone. You know how on your cell phone you have favorites? That's it. Those three. Those are the only three. I give a shit what they think about me. And then past that, the students that I'm close with, I care about them and what they think of me. And that's how I am. People say whatever they want, but when it's you care about the small circle, and those are the people I care every day what they're doing. I care every day that they're happy and their health and their safety. what they think about me, that's the only thing I care about. And when you isolate the people that really just care about you and focus on them, the greater of the people also will follow that. Because trying to make small people happy, you ain't going to win. No one's going to win. Unless you're the rock, maybe him. But that's just one of those things of, I the main people in my life, there's less than 10. And I focus on them, and the rest, we kind of figure that out.
Love it. So what would you hope that people would get out of this episode?
The two things that I hope that they get is that if you have a dream and you truly believe in it, go for it. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be heartbreak. There's going to be ups and downs. But also, too, it's one of those things of figuring it out. And then after that, it's just find what you're good at, find what you love to do, and do it the rest of your life. Like, you're never going to see me doing sales and corporate job. Fuck no. Coaching, helping people, having meaningful conversations about how to improve life. Now, I'm going to do that the rest of my life. That help impact people. Then got my woman and dogs. That's all I need.
Love it. Well, thank you for sharing, Jared. If there's anywhere they can find you, Instagram, YouTube, wherever it is that you would like to plug the gym or yourself, feel free.
Sure. Got a couple. I just started a YouTube channel. So that's JGame1, Jared Gahm. And then Instagram is PSF Legacy. And then I got Facebook and TikTok. So all the social media channels that you need, I believe I got them all.
Awesome. All right. Well, Jared, thank you so much for being here, man. It was a pleasure talking with you. You've had some amazing stories, and honestly, the resilience that you've shown, the drive, the sticking true to yourself, and dealing with all the resistance that you definitely faced. I look up to that, and I'm very grateful for your time.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out and us getting this done, man. It was a lot of fun, and maybe one in the future I'll have you on mine.
I would love that. And thank you all for watching as well.